Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Ali Moreno and Stevie Nicol. We'll kick things off as we continue to reflect on that dramatic win for Liverpool yesterday against Newcastle. Remember, Newcastle down to 10 men, 2-0 down. They got it back to 2-2, but it was a teenager that saved Liverpool's life and gave them another 3 points. Let's hear from both coaches after the game.
An unbelievable atmosphere, and for us to stay strong in that atmosphere for such a long time is worth more to me than when we play every single time out from the back and we have a 4 or a 5-0 win. This means more to me than when we play good football, because tonight had, for me, nothing to do with tactics or with good football. It was just a great game to watch, but not because of tactics or good football.
And that's right up there in terms of atmospheres that I've experienced. They couldn't have done any more. Hopefully they feel that we couldn't have done any more in terms of what we gave the game. And if we keep that connection, we'd be fine.
We were the lucky ones, because that's what we were. We were lucky to get a win over the line over here.
Yep, Arne Slot not pulling any punches as we welcome in Frank Leboeuf and Aage Fjortoft. Frank, overall, we've been critical of some boring games of late in the Premier League. We described it as a bit mediocre last season. Last night was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was, because full of surprises, full of suspense, red card, and you think, okay, the game is over, and suddenly you see the Geordies coming back and giving a hell of a game, and everything's coming crazy, and the cherry or the icing on the cake with that last goal at the last second with the young guy, that was a great game. Yeah, after you can go into details and say why, Gordon, you want to punish yourself and your team, why you want to break a leg. You can say what are going on with Liverpool, how they cannot properly defend, how they cannot finish the game at 11 against 10. But yes, in terms of entertaining, that was fantastic. I enjoyed the game, I enjoyed the spirit of the game and the atmosphere, of course. Yeah, that was a great game.
And Jan, you were there.
I was there. Fantastic atmosphere. It was one of those places, although I played for Middlesbrough, the local rival back in the days, but I must say the atmosphere at St. James's, both as a player and last night, I mean, it was unbelievable. And I'm not 100% agree with Slot. Yes, they didn't play well. Yes, 10 against 11 Newcastle were very impressive. And even at 2-2, they wanted to take the ball back to win the game. But I think the risky thing that he did there, Slot, at the end, when he put Rio and Harvin Elliott on, two small kids at Newcastle as well, as Slot was saying, it was not a normal Premier League game. This was a top football game.
Ali, Steve made a good point yesterday. This wasn't just an instinctive finish from a 16-year-old. He had time. He saw that ball coming across. Szoboszlai, of course, with the dummy, gives him that opportunity to set himself up. So many things could have gone wrong, physically and mentally as well.
But the confidence with which he approached the cross tells you that he's thinking one thing and one thing only, and it is the back of the net. He's not waiting for that ball to come to him. Once he read the run of Szoboszlai and how he lets the ball go, you see his first instinct is to step forward onto the shot. Not just allow the ball to come to him, not take an additional touch, unnecessary touch. No, I'm going to go attack it. I'm going to put this in the back of the net. And I think to that point and to that end, I would suggest that being as young as he is actually an advantage.
Right.
You don't have scars. You don't have failures.
It's a voice of experience.
Yes. you don't have misses from short range. You don't have that.
You still have all your hair.
You're thriving. You got all your hair. I joke, but at the same time, there's a point to be made there in that because you don't have failures on you and you don't have the weight of history on you, you're excited to be there and to go and get the finish and the quality with which he got the finish. I thought that was actually the one sequence. Yeah. The one sequence in the second half in which you could tell they were playing 11 against 10. The one sequence in which Liverpool actually put passes together between lines, splitting defenders, getting people in wide areas, and then you were able to exploit that man advantage, and what a finish this was. And like I said before, the fact that he attacked the service told me that he was about to put this in the back of the net.
We, of course, talked about the game a lot in detail yesterday. One thing that we spoke of briefly, and it's interesting, something that maybe the Premier League and indeed FIFA as a whole are going to have to look at, is what they do about incidents like the Konate one.
And players and coaches are upset. But if you keep things on a level playing field and referee the game and the spirit the game's being played, then what you're doing is taking that away from referees. You know, because
I suppose the problem is the referee made 2 mistakes in the fact that he didn't send off Gordon. That's rectified by VAR.
Correct.
He made a second mistake by not showing Konate the second yellow card, but that cannot be rectified by VAR because of the way the rules are written.
Right, and that's the worst example because for me, yellow shouldn't be involved in that particular incident. It should have been a red.
Sure.
But VAR should not be getting involved in anything other than red cards.
Frank, what do you think?
No, I think it's, Jan was talking about details, and for me that specific action is not about details. It's a pure, big-time picture of the game and where you have to make a decision. And even if the VAR shouldn't be involved in the yellow card, I mean, you have to be friendly with the referee and say, man, I'm sorry, really, we can't be involved, but you should have a look at that because I think you're going to be hammered by the press, the media, and Newcastle fans if you don't say it's a yellow card. So stop the game, look at it, I don't know what to do what you have to do. Because really, it's unacceptable. It's such a big thing during that game, we could have changed everything. So you cannot say it's just a detail, and ref cannot be involved in it. Yes, he has to be involved because it's important. 3 points are very important.
The problem is,
I didn't say.
Go ahead, Jan. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I didn't say, Frank, that this incident was a detail. I'm just saying, in principle, when we discuss football, where is the balance between taking all details on the pitch? Because the small details in a football game can decide a game. But I do understand, that, and that's why we're talking about this today, because the tackle from Gordon, he couldn't even see. And this one, he made a wrong decision. And it's hard for anyone to understand the big difference by using the VAR there, just to clarify that, Frank.
Yeah, the problem that you're going to find if indeed you go looking for yellow cards at VAR is that there is a broader spectrum as to what can be a yellow card as compared to a red card. I think there is a well-defined spectrum in terms of what looks like a red card and what should be a red card. And that's, I think that there are certain finite circumstances in a game that call for a red card. Whereas a yellow card, there are many instances, much more so. And so now you get into really gray areas of clear and obvious times 10.
Right.
If we're struggling to find clear and obvious with the red cards, imagine with the yellow card. It becomes a very slippery slope. And I understand the premise of your thought there, Dan, and as it pertains to this particular sequence, you're saying, yeah, this could have changed the game dramatically. But there are so many instances a game in which it's a borderline yellow card, and if you're going to go to VAR every time that one of these tackles happen, now we're going into the area of re-refereeing the game over and over and over again.
Okay, I don't want to go around because obviously everyone has their opinion, and I think it's something we could do a whole show on. But I just want to move on to what we saw in certainly this game and the one we saw before. Is Florian Wirtz not making the impact, Jan, that I think many thought he would?
No, and that is a fair point. He's been a part invincible. You can see when he gets the game, he do the Wirtz things, but he hasn't found his way as, for example, a Kitike. Same with Šeško. I mean, we can't discuss how long these Bundesliga players need to adapt to English football, but he somehow hasn't found his positions in there. And I was sitting last night to compare. I was seeing the runs of Ekitike, I was seeing the runs of Florian Wirtz, while Wirtz was finding, he was not in the game, he was not in the team somehow. But Ekitike just found his position. Hey, give me the ball. I want the ball. This is where I want the ball. This is my run. I want the ball here. While Florian Wirtz is more or less searching for, shall I say, quote, quote, identity, his place in the team. So far, not so good from Florian Wirtz.
Ali, you saw a lot of him, obviously, at Leverkusen.
And part of the reason he had so much success at Bayer Leverkusen is that he had all this freedom to do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, and had very little responsibilities otherwise, other than finding the ball and spaces in which he could be dangerous. He still hasn't found those spaces at Liverpool, to the point that Jan was making. It's almost as if he's chasing the game rather than allowing the game come to him and then him naturally get on the turn. He is best when he's on the turn, in behind the defense, the midfield line, and in front of the back line. In that space of about 10, 15 yards, when he's on the turn and driving at defenders, that's where he does his best work. And we haven't yet seen him find that space consistently, nor have we found Liverpool control the ball enough to find him in those sort of spaces. We think about Liverpool having issues in the back line. I also think that they have had issues in controlling matches through the midfield. And part of that has to do with the fact that your possession hasn't been clean enough. It was well demonstrated yesterday playing against 10 men how difficult of a time they had in keeping the ball, even playing a man up. That, I think, affects the effectiveness and the efficiency of Florian Wirtz's match and game.
He may have to find a different spot for this guy.
Yeah.
Because right now, he's not getting on the ball. That's what he was brought in to do. But from a defensive point of view, there's no question Liverpool are struggling big time. And so he might have to move him wide. And then bring McAllister and Szoboszlai and Gravenberg as your three in the middle. Because
I agree.
Right now, the back four can't defend as a unit. And if you have a more solid middle three, then it would cut in half the amount of what the back four has to do. And so until they sort it out, they can't afford to keep letting teams get at Liverpool's back line. That's why they've lost 6 goals in 3 games. So he might have to change the way they play. He might have to switch Wirtz, in my opinion, maybe to a wide area. But at the same time, Gakpo doesn't deserve to be dropped. Are you going to drop Gakpo just because you've paid 100 million for Florian Wirtz? Tough decision.
6 days to go until the transfer window shuts, Jan. You were, of course, in Newcastle yesterday. What's the word on the ground regarding the future of Isak?
Well, yesterday the whole management was flying in from the Middle East and they were going home to Isak. And report today is that he hasn't changed his mind. But I had what they say, a background conversation yesterday with the management of Newcastle. And I do believe them that they want him to stay. Will they end up keeping him there? That's another question. But I think they're very clear on that. There was also different rumors yesterday. Well, what happened when he came back to training? He hasn't been training with the teams, but he had been at the training ground. There were talk of the town, as they say yesterday, that the Newcastle players have reacted very, how shall I say it, very clear to Isak, what I think about his thing not being a part of the team anymore. But they are looking for replacement. Jørgen Strand Larsen, they had a £50 million bid rejected by Wolves yesterday. What we have learned is that they will be back. Because before I got on here, talk with people at Wolverhampton, they are waiting for an offer very soon from Newcastle United. But the funny thing about Newcastle, have you seen that any player that gets linked to the club comes as a replacement for Wilson, not for Isak. So I think there is a lot to be done. But I think now it's a matter of time, because if they're going to get Jørgen Strand Larsen for Wolverhampton need a replacement.